Hey, this is Jeff. Welcome back to Coito Ergo Sum Less Talk More Action, a series which tried a box of all-purpose snack crackers and discovered that while they are versatile, they are not suitable for all purposes. They don't make very good coasters and don't even think about using them as brake pads. Last week, we assigned Leslie to clear the tunnel between Lolipopz and the Las Vegas depot. Unsurprisingly, she's letting Henrietta do most of the work. Henrietta needs more explosives to do the job, and while I didn't have any dynamite at the house, I did have some C4.
You're short. Come back when you have the rest.
Which we just need to put in her explosives locker over here. The note says you need 20 sticks of dynamite or 2 pounds of C4 in any combination, and since she already has 10 sticks, I should only need 1 pound of C4. I'm assuming the impact detonator dynamite would work if I had 10 sticks, but you can only get it from Cal, so I'm not wasting that. I know regular or long fuse dynamite work. And we also need to give her 4 sensor modules to synchronize the detonation. And that should be everything she needs. If it is, she'll have different dialogue.
Yep, this could take a couple days. See ya.
Alright, now we just need to wait. If I can find some dynamite, I'll use it instead of C4 because C4 is pretty rare. Don't think there are any other upgrades we can do without Leslie, so let's recruit some magazine models. Jazz Wilkins is one of the easier models to get to. I guess I just haven't had a reason to visit Sloan recently. And she's also easy to recruit because she's a fan of pre-war Lolipopz magazines, so she likes the idea of publishing new issues.
Hey there, what's new?
Readers loved your magazine pictorial. I'm pretty sure I never recruited her. This would be the dialogue to persuade her to star in a movie, which isn't as easy, by the way, but I'll check the terminal. But I'm using a spreadsheet to min-max the magazine layouts, and it says she's never posed. Goodbye.
All right, then.
You can't ask models to pose while actors are using the studio to rehearse, but I haven't started a third movie yet, so I know it's not that. Maybe she already posed and I just forgot to add her to the spreadsheet, but I think it's a bug. I'm probably going to do a whole episode dedicated to publishing magazines. I've kind of talked here and there about layouts and theme bonuses and that stuff, but I want to have my whole soup to nuts publishing strategy in one video for anybody who likes, to see numbers in a minigame and think, high score! If you're not one of those people, you might think a spreadsheet is overkill, but yeah. The magazine side quest in Coito is a lot more open-ended than the equivalent quest in Quo Vadis, which is the Fallout 3 mod that Coito is a sequel to. In both mods, you need to publish 12 issues to complete the quest, but in Quo Vadis, there's a definite maximum possible profit of 12,000 caps, 1,000 caps per issue, hence the name of the quest, a picture is worth 1,000 caps. And there are a finite number of ways you can reach that maximum. In Coito, there is a theoretical maximum. There has to be, but I don't know what it is. I do know with absolute certainty that you can't publish 12 perfect score issues because the way the bonuses are distributed among the models, there just aren't enough theme bonuses to go around. What I mean is, if you publish 12 issues where every model is perfect for the section of the magazine they're in, then not every issue will have a theme bonus. If you publish 12 issues that all have a theme bonus, some of the models will be less than perfect for the section of the magazine they're in. And a brute force algorithm will not work. In Quo Vadis, the number of possible layout combinations for a 12-issue run of the magazine is 2.85 times 10 to the 67th, which is in the neighborhood of the number of atoms in the Milky Way galaxy. There are actually less models in Coito than Quo Vadis, but it's like 90 versus 96 or something, so it's still a literally astronomical number, which is why I'm using a spreadsheet. And where the hell am I and where am I going? Alright, I need to head northeast. And I'd rather not waste ammo on these scorpions if I don't have to, especially since I forgot to top up when I was at the house.
Later.
Oh. I'm after Lupe, not Michelle. The Grub and Gulp is north from here, I think.
Steal from the gun runner. Usually.
Hello?
People usually aren't stupid enough to steal from the gun runners. Usually. People usually aren't stupid enough to steal from the gun runners. Usually.
Say that again. I dare you. Yeah, that's what I thought. There's Lupe. Like Jazz Wilkins, she's a fan of the pre-war Lolipopz magazines, so she's easy to convince. I don't think she even has a speech challenge. You can see she has a poster of Lana Elsker up on her wall.
Welcome back. Are you thirsty for some fresh, clean water?
Hey, nice poster. Who put it up there?
I did.
Must be good for business. As it happens, I'm publishing brand new issues. Want to be in one?
Sure. People will think I'm Dy-no-mite.
Speaking of Dy-no-mite, I still need to find some. It won't be a big deal if Henrietta uses the C4, but no sense wasting it if I don't have to. Get the camera out. It's kind of cool that vanilla characters have different attitudes about the magazine. I don't mean the obvious differences in the difficulty of their speech challenges and how some of them won't even consider it unless you've done something important for them, or they'll refuse if you've done something that pissed them off. I mean their awareness of the pre-war reputation. You know, it's not surprising that Angie or Rondo mentions it because they're part of the mod, and a lot of vanilla characters don't say anything one way or the other, either never heard of it or don't care, but like Jazz and Lupe are fans, and other people are kind of offended by it. I forget what Saffron said its circulation was at its peak, but she said surviving copies are way more common than tumblers today, so it makes sense people would be familiar with it.
Hello.
Speaking of Angie, we haven't asked any of our own staff to pose. So, while we're here...
You haven't asked me to be in the magazine. If it's because you're afraid I'll say no, I won't.
Well, that's apropos. So you still want to pose for the magazine? We're set up for a shoot downstairs.
Yes, I do. Do you think you'll publish a Lollipop of the Year issue like in the old days? Not saying it would be me, of course. Just curious.
And I'm thirsty already. I'm gonna take one for the team here. I try to avoid situations that require a censor box because I'm lazy, but I wouldn't want to just leave a photo shoot with everybody's favorite blonde bombshell on the editing room floor. Not that I'm just pandering. Angie's in the top tier for appearance bonus, middle tier for attitude, but bottom tier for appeal because she's not famous or exotic. See? Now I have to leave it in for tutorial purposes. Alright, we'll see who else is upstairs. This might not seem intuitively like it's killing a lot of time, but it actually is. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before or not, but time does pass when you teleport to the studio, and like fast travel, the amount of time that passes is mostly dependent on how far you are from the studio. But a little bit of time passes even for models who are right here in the building, presumably because they don't just drop what they're doing and run down to the studio immediately.
Hey there.
Maria?
What do you want?
How'd you like to be in the magazine?
There's no employee discount. You pay me the same you pay the rest of them.
With speech 45, we can save ourselves 50 caps. Think about your draw. You can't buy this kind of advertising.
You got a point. Alright, let's do it.
Anyway, you might have noticed pretty frequently my dehydration state changes immediately upon arrival in the studio. That's not a coincidence. It's the travel time. If you're seriously dehydrated, you do not want to recruit a model in a remote corner of the map. I think it's like a 5 or 6 hour trip from Bitter Springs, which could kill you. I think it's an hour or a half hour or something that passes for models who are in the building, and I guess I was right on the threshold when I talked to Angie, and that hour put me over. Point is, Angie and Debbie and the rest of them will give Henrietta more time to work than you might think. Plus, game time passes while you're actually in the photo shoot, obviously. There's Rondo, having a little chat with Caradom. What do you need, baby? Want to pose for the magazine? We're all set up in the studio.
I'd love to. I have to say I'm pretty impressed. I'm not sure I'd have gambled on a spin-off magazine with male models myself.
All right, I'm going to take another one for the team. If I leave in Angie's photo shoot because she's the stereotypical ideal of female appearance, then obviously I can't shortchange Rondo. And as you can see, a censor box is required. There's actually a subtle difference in the photo shoot costumes for male versus female models. Or not that subtle, depending on how important the eye candy aspect of the minigame is to you. Anyway, female models may start a photo shoot partially dressed or in their underwear, but they always eventually get nude, even if you don't have a female body replacer installed. Male NPCs from the base game only get completely nude if you have a nude male body replacer, otherwise they'll only strip to the default underwear. Rondo and the other male models from the mod, however, do get nude either way. I don't have a male or female body replacer installed, so in the old walkthrough, it was a bit of a surprise after I had shot James Garrett, 2 or 3 other male models who were just in their underwear, and then Rondo posed and he was naked as a jaybird. Alright, let's get a drink. And since he's right here, we can see if JT restocked blank holotapes yet.
What's up? Step into my office.
He did not. What the hell is going on here? Hey, no standing on the tables.
Hey man, thanks again for that thing.
You're welcome. Filth was a good draw, but cleaned up, you're freaking hot. Want to be in the magazine?
Really? Me? A model? I'd love to. Asshole said I wouldn't even get an obituary. They'll see me in Lolipopz magazine. They'll shit.
I think Fiona gets promoted from the bottom tier of appearance to the middle tier if she cleans up after you kill Kimball and Kaisar, which in this walkthrough she did. She's top tier for attitude, obviously, and like most of the pros, she's bottom tier for appeal because she's not famous or anything. And here's an exception to that rule.
What's up, Hefe?
How would you like to be in the magazine?
Are you kidding? Half the women who worked here before the war did it because they thought Larry Slater might drop in and discover them. Being in Lolipopz magazine is like, well, you just don't get any more famous than that. Sorry, I'm babbling. Let's do it.
Maria has a decent appeal bonus because DeLeon syndrome makes her somewhat exotic. And now I'm hungry. Guess people might do a double take if they saw her on the cover of a magazine. Don't want to interrupt Doug while he has a fan watching. Might be bad for revenue. Is he gonna use the pole? Yes, he is.
You humans have such weak stomachs.
Bye.
Looking for a good time?
Doug is apparently a man of many talents. Don't talk to him much or give him credit. He doesn't seem to be as interesting as the other characters, but he's certainly athletic. Okay. He got tired of waiting.
Hey, what's up? Look who it is.
Want to make 50 caps without actually working? Pose for He3 magazine.
50 caps. You've got yourself a deal.
I'm not going to put up the digital blur for Doug. We saw plenty of him on stage. We can take a look at him without his hat, though, but since he works for you, you can change his wardrobe, so this isn't the dramatic reveal that it is for vanilla NPCs. And he starts in his thong, so no worries. I think that's all the pros. It almost certainly hasn't been long enough for Henrietta to be done, but as long as we're right here, we might as well go check. I'm not sure if clearing the tunnel takes longer than the other upgrades. It seems like it should, but there are 2 people on this job, and Henrietta's not a slacker, so I don't know, 3 days, maybe a week. I'm not actually sure how long the other upgrades take. Actually, I hope she's not done, because I still never found any dynamite. Well, I probably have plenty of time for that.
Yep, this could take a couple days. See ya.
See if her supervisor has anything to say.
Hey there.
Oh, cool. We can ask her to pose. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. Taking her off the job site for a few hours isn't going to have a big impact on the schedule. Did you know this isn't just a brothel? We're also in the publishing business.
Yeah.
So do you want to pose for Lolipopz magazine?
Not really.
We could threaten to turn her into the Crimson Caravan, but the last thing I need is for her to be lazy and disgruntled. Why don't you want to pose? You get paid to party and might even get fan mail if you do it right.
Sounds like fun. Let's do it right.
And we might get to see Leslie without her hat. Leslie, by the way, is middle tier appearance, bottom tier appeal because she's totally not famous, and surprisingly top tier attitude. Oh, there we are. Very neat and tidy considering she had it stuffed up in a hat. Yep. Despite her initial reluctance, she is much more enthusiastic about modeling than her maintenance and upgrade duties. Maybe the whiskey helped. Alright, as soon as she leaves, I'm going to go home and get some food, water, and sleep.
Hello.
Actually, I don't need to wait. Most of the time I wait until the model leaves the studio just to make sure they teleport home, but she's just going back downstairs. And Maze still hasn't respawned. That's fine. I have plenty in the fridge. Oh, and I don't know if I'm going to make another movie or not, so I'll show you these while I'm thinking about it. The holovids. Ain't that a lick on the head? And bend her unto Caesar. Cool that they're not generic holotapes, they have labels, so when you get one in your safe, you can display it as a trophy. Speaking of trophies, here's the Dy-no-mite with an impact detonator that we bought from Cal. Nothing major, just a better look at it than we got when Henrietta was using it. Now, sleep. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I was just going to see if the powder gangers would sell me some dynamite. Wasn't even recording, and apparently the NCR is still trying to take back the correctional facility. I'm pretty sure I warned Eddie the NCR was going to attack because I wanted to get on their good side, but I must have bolted so I didn't kill any NCR troopers myself because I didn't want NCR infamy. The strange net effect of which is, besides the fact that the battle is still going on years later, the powder gangers, who I have a mixed neutral reputation with, are showing up as my allies, and the NCR, who I'm idolized by, are showing up as my enemies.
Damn, running low on smokes again. Who's gonna take charge with Eddie out of the picture?
Yeah, apparently Eddie didn't make it, but they're still friendly. I am going to steal any dynamite they have lying around. Still not going to kill any of the NCR, but they have no interest in extending me the same courtesy, presumably because this one squad was flagged as hostile when I warned Eddie they were coming. No dynamite in the cell blocks. Check the guard tower. None up here either, but I'll definitely take that 308 ammo. Do you have any? No? Weird. Alright, how about you? No. Maybe they used it all against the NCR. Haven't checked the admin building. This is probably a terrible idea. Oh, hey. Yes it is.
Had enough?
Get some!
Yeah, If you've done this quest on the Powder Gangers' side, you know that even if you warn them, the NCR will just slaughter them unless you help. Oh, sorry guys. If I led the NCR in here, you're as good as dead. Be a shame about Myers, but he's not the only option to help Prim. In fact, I think I already made the robot the sheriff. Maybe if I just leave, they'll go back to off-screen limbo and survive. Well, till the next time I'm here. Anyway, I was really on my way to Westside. There are 3 models in Westside, 2 of them at the Casa Madrid, one of whom is right here.
Welcome to the Casa Madrid. If you got an itch needs scratching, you came to the right place. Just watch how you treat the merchandise.
Did you know I'm the publisher of Lolipopz magazine? I'd like you to pose for me.
Don't even joke about that.
Being sexy is all about your attitude. You don't really believe beauty is only skin deep, do you?
It's not that. Something broke on the inside.
You proved you're strong by surviving. Doing this would prove they didn't break you.
I'd rather not, but you're right, though. I'm not going to let it bother me anymore. All right, you can count me in.
I didn't realize I never talked to her before. I mean, with this character. So I might have skipped some of the backstory that's relevant to her persuasion dialogue. Short version, she was mutilated by Cook, one of the fiends in South Vegas, who I'm pretty sure I killed for Major Daughtry. But anyway, she runs the brothel in Westside now, but she gets kind of defensive if you try to proposition her because she's understandably self-conscious about her appearance, which also understandably is in the bottom tier, but she has a good appeal bonus because she's a prominent business owner. I mean, hopefully that, and not just because of the shock value. And she starts in the bottom tier for attitude bonus, but if you stick around for the whole photo shoot, she gains confidence and gets promoted to the middle tier halfway through. And there she goes. Oh, I've been carrying around blank holotapes for days. Drop them off while we're here. And also, last episode we finished our second movie, but JT hadn't had time to sell them yet, so the money for that is probably in the safe. Go upstairs and check that. Yeah, 13,000. I forget exactly how many copies it sold, but I think I said it was going to be in the neighborhood of 7,000 caps. So we've got that plus a week's worth of brothel income. And back to Westside. And the real reason I came to Casa Madrid is Sweetie, which should not be taken as disrespect for Pretty Sarah, who is a great character. My fascination with Sweetie has nothing to do with role-playing. It's because she's voiced by Deborah Wilson, who I'm a huge fan of in real life, obviously. Had a major fanboy moment in the old walkthrough, but I'll try to play it cool this time.
I'm glad mean son of a bitch is on our side. Hey, baby, what say you and me get acquainted?
How much does it cost to hire you?
It's worth every cap, baby. I'll do things to you you didn't even think was possible, and leave you feeling like everything's right in the world.
That's not exactly what I had in mind.
Keep telling yourself that, sugar. You'll be back.
I'm not interested in sex right now, but I'll pay you 50 caps to pose for my porno magazine.
Sure. Baby, you are some kind of crazy.
Okay, that went pretty well, but I still kind of get goosebumps because, let's face it, that's the closest I'm ever going to come to doing a scene with Deborah Wilson. And back to Westside one more time.
I hear the Great Khan's got massacred again. No survivors this time, though.
Not sure where you get your news, but the Great Khans are just fine.
Hi again. You here to play?
Nope. Just wanted to say goodbye.
You know you'll be back.
Yes, I probably will if I make another movie. I think this is it. The last Westside model is actually outside the barrier. I believe this is her house. Oh, pop inside.
I hear the Great Khans got massacred again. No survivors this time, though.
No, they weren't. They're fine.
You best not try any funny business, stranger. One word from me, and Vance will plant you in the ground.
Apparently I fixed... What's its name? Prim Slim. Fixed his memory either before, during, or after making him sheriff. But I don't know if that would lock me out of recruiting her for the magazine. I have to tell you, I'm a big fan of the whole bad girl thing.
All right. So,
I publish Lolipopz magazine. We specialize in bad girls.
if you don't shut up, Sammy will hit you where it hurts the most.
If you were a model, do you think Sammy would enjoy bragging about it to his friends?
Well, I guess there's a thing or two I could show you.
Sweet. My studio is in Mountain Springs if you can spare a few hours.
Okay, you're on.
Yeah, Vance's gun is nice, but you have to squeeze her a little bit to get it, and I was afraid that would piss her off to the point that she wouldn't be willing to pose. I also don't know why she calls Sammy Vance when you first meet her, unless when she says Vance will put you in the ground, she's calling the gun Vance, which might make sense if she were brandishing it or something, but whatever. Now see, Pauline gets how to tease you with the hat. That's like something right out of Victoria's Secret. But don't worry, she will take it off eventually. Come on. You know you want to show us your hair. There we go. And by the way, Pauline is top tier appearance and attitude, middle tier of appeal, because she is kind of a gangster, just not a very famous or successful one, or even very good at it. All right. It's been like a week, so Henrietta has to be done by now. Pauline can certainly make it to the elevator by the time I get down to the work site. And after the fiasco at the correctional facility, I never did find any dynamite, so I guess we'll be using C4.
You'd better get out of here. This is going to be a huge explosion.
All right, finally. I assume Leslie will evacuate when Henrietta does. You actually have to leave the level, by which I mean go through a loading screen, not just go up to the studio. Taking the train or walking the tunnel to Paw Rump would work, but it wouldn't be as much fun, because if you go to one of the other floors of the saloon, you actually feel the ground quake. Well, there's a sound effect and some camera shake, although supposedly if you play with a controller, you literally feel it through the rumble pack. I'm going to go up to the second floor so nobody in the saloon talks over it, so we'll be able to hear it when it happens. There we go. The tunnel should now be clear. As I mentioned last week, the main point of this upgrade is that it increases the number of customers you get. Or more accurately, it makes the posters more effective. So if you don't advertise at all, you'll still lose money. But if you do advertise, you'll get more customers for the same amount of posters. Clearing the tunnel has a bigger effect if you haven't already destroyed the cazador nests, and vice versa, because the effects overlap a bit. Little detail, the lights at this end of the tunnel are back on. Well, the only way you could go was toward Paw Rump. They were off. And somewhere around here, yep. New message. The tunnel is now clear between Mountain Springs siding and the Las Vegas depot. We could walk, but I'm going to turn back so we can take the train, save some time and water. Clearing the tunnel makes the trip safer for customers coming from town. They can bypass the fiends in South Vegas and the cazadores, but it doesn't do anything for customers coming from the south. And now there's a new stop, the Las Vegas Depot. So to finish that thought, destroying the nests protects everybody from cazador attacks, but it doesn't help the customers from the north with the fiends. So bottom line, it's worth doing both. Over here on the map, you can see the "You Are Here" icon is on the Las Vegas Depot. That's the Pahrump Maintenance Terminal. Death Valley South, obviously. Lolipopz isn't on the map, presumably because it's not a real station, just an access point to a siding on the line. These terminals do not work. There's another one somewhere in here that lets you call the train to this station if it's somewhere else. There really isn't a lot to see in here. There aren't any enemies. There's probably some random loot in various containers, but this character got over his hoarding tendencies a long time ago. Up here we have what would have been elevators to the surface, inaccessible now. And what would probably be another map if it had power. If we go back downstairs and head down the tunnel to the southwest, we should run into another teleport message when we get far enough down there that will take us back to Lolipopz. Yep, we could walk to Mountain Springs Siding, but obviously we're not going to. Turn back. We'll check out the other direction. Oh, okay. Like all the stops on this line, there's a Y, so the train can stop on the correct side of the platform for the direction it's going, but at this station, one side is actually blocked. I mean, I assume that arrangement was to make the boarding process consistent, like a westbound train will always be on the north platform or whatever, but I don't really know. I think there might be a terminal entry at the Slater Mansion that explains why the long parts of the tunnel only have one set of tracks, because it cut the cost of building it in half, and the trains used sidings like the one in Mountain Springs when they needed to pass each other. Or maybe I just made it up, but either way it makes sense, because the tunnels were originally mainly for cargo, so having to pull over and wait was no big deal. After Larry bought it, the volume of traffic wasn't nearly as high. And this is a dead end, but not just because it's partially collapsed. This was literally the end of the line. There's a cargo elevator. So by process of elimination, hard hats required. This must be what we're looking for. Head up here. Requires a key. Guess that's why there aren't any squatters or creatures living in here. The terminal can be used to call the train here if it isn't already, and unlocks the door. Which leads to, drum roll please, South Vegas. Should be a couple of landmarks nearby. Just want to make sure there aren't any fiends. This is supposedly safe, but there's, never a guarantee. Over there is Camp McCarran. And you can see the Sunset Sarsaparilla Factory over there. So that gives you an idea of where this is. Yep, El Rey motel beside McCarran, South Vegas ruins across the road. There's a big railroad yard over there. A lot of the Fiend's barricades all over that area are made of boxcars, so presumably the cargo elevator and passenger platform originally came up in one of the destroyed buildings. The entrance on this side was for employees who lived on this side of the highway, so they didn't have to fight traffic or whatever. Bottom line, in normal mode, I'd probably just fast travel, but in hardcore mode, this would have saved me an enormous amount of time, water, and ammo commuting from Lolipopz to town and back if I had opened it earlier. Either way, it gives the saloon revenue a significant boost. So I think I'm going to call it a day, and next week I'll either do the rest of the upgrades or publish magazines. Probably updates, because I can kill time by recruiting models, and then we'll have more options when we do publish the magazines. I'll see you then.